Hello, fellow food lovers. Today I will be making Chinese whole fish fillet using Basa fish, deep fried with spicy Sichuan sauce. You will need one fish fillet. I'm using Basa, salt, cornstarch. For the sauce, you'll need 1 tablespoon fava bean and chili paste, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of chicken powder, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and 1 tablespoon of garlic minced. Okay, I got two pieces of garlic. I'm going to smash them with the side of the knife and then mince it. Okay, I got 1 Basa fish fillet, so I'm using paper towels to kind of mop up the moisture on the fish. You want the fish to be dry for when you dip it into the cornstarch. If it's a soggy fish, it's just going to get lumpy pieces of cornstarch on it, so you want it to be pretty dry. So I use paper towel on both sides. Then I'm going to give it a pinch of salt to season it. I'll rub it into the meat. Okay, so I have the wok half filled with oil. It's on high heat. It's been on high heat for about 5 minutes. So I already tested the oil. So I took a chopstick, and a wooden chopstick, and I dipped it in the oil, and bubbles formed around the chopstick, which meant it's hot enough to deep fry with. Okay, so I have a plate with cornstarch in it. So I'm taking the fish fillet, I'm pressing it into the cornstarch, covering both sides and all the surfaces. And then I'm gonna hang it over the cornstarch and give it a shake so the extra cornstarch comes off, just like that. You don't want too much cornstarch stuck to the fish when you deep fry it. And then I'm gonna dip it thick end first into the hot oil, so that gives it a bit of chance to fry on both sides. So I might do that for about a minute or so. And then I'll slowly drop it into the oil. You don't want to drop it too fast, you'll cause the oil to splash. So just slowly dip it into the oil and then let go. Okay, so after about 3 minutes, you want to turn it over so it cooks on the other side. The oil closer to the element tends to be hotter than the oil near the surface, so you want to turn the fish fillet over at least once so that both sides get kind of cooked near the bottom of the wok. So you want the skin to be kind of a golden brown color. That gives you lets you know that it's cooked. So probably 6 minutes total. 3 minutes on each side should be sufficient to cook the fish fillet. Okay, so I want to drain some of the oil out before I take it out of the wok. And I'm going to place it on some paper towels sitting on a plate that's behind the wok. So I usually recycle the oil that I use for deep frying in the wok. So I have a metal container that sits on top of the stove, and I keep the oil in there. So I use a sieve. I drain the frying oil through the sieve so all the little bits get caught. And yeah, so I keep that oil around until it gets fairly dirty. So it's probably good for maybe another 20 fries. And then I usually just put it into a container and put it in the garbage. Okay, so I washed the wok. It's on high heat. I added 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. I'm going to add the minced garlic to that. So I want to stir fry the garlic for maybe about 30 seconds. It's on high heat. You don't want to burn the garlic. When it starts to turn a little golden brown, then you should add the liquid. But actually this time, I'm going to add the fava bean and chili paste first. So that's the fava bean chili paste. I'm going to add a tablespoon of that to the garlic and the oil. The reason I do that is you need to fry the fava bean and chili paste for a little bit before you add liquid. You shouldn't be adding the paste to liquid. You should be adding it to the oil before the liquid gets poured in to make the sauce. Because frying the chili paste, the fava bean and chili paste brings out the flavor in it. It's usually a way they do it in Sichuan cooking. Okay, so I'm going to add a cup of water to that. I'll make the sauce now. I'll wait for the sauce to come to a boil. I'm going to add the rest of the seasonings. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. I'm going to add a teaspoon of chicken powder. A teaspoon of sesame oil. Okay, I'm going to make the cornstarch slurry now. So I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, put into a bowl, and add a 1/4 cup of water to that. So I'm going to stir it, then add it to the sauce. I'm going to give it a stir, make sure the sauce is well incorporated into the cornstarch. You need to stir the sauce after you add the cornstarch slurry so it can properly thicken. Okay, so actually it looks like it's a good consistency. So I'm going to transfer the fish fillet over to the serving plate. So this technique of deep frying and saucing, it can be done using an entire fish. You can actually deep fry an entire fish as opposed to a fish fillet. But in terms of everyday eating, using fish fillet for making this dish is a lot more easier. And people would generally fry a whole fish for special occasions like Chinese New Year, Christmas, stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to spoon the sauce over the fish. You don't need the entire thing of sauce. You just need maybe 2-3 ladlefuls of sauce over the fish, and that should be good. There you go. That's it. Yeah, so that's a deep fried whole fish fillet. I'm using the Basa fish, and it's covered in a spicy Sichuan sauce. It's very spicy and savory. It's a really nice sauce, and it goes nice with fried fish. I wouldn't use this sauce on a steamed fish, but on a fried fish, it goes really nice. And you can also use the sauce on a fried whole fish as well, but it tends to work better with a fish fillet. Okay, Bon appetit.